All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to pre-show for Sword Coast Chronicles. I am DM Galabond, and gradually I am being joined on the Roll20 and in the Discord by the players. Hello, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing all right. I was up in Michigan last week.
Oh, Michigan. Was it nice and cool, or was it hot and muggy?
No, it was cool, and it was kind of cold by Florida standards when I first got there, and it was comfortably cool by the time I left.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, when I got there, some of the morning temperatures were in the 30s.
Oh,
And up into daytime highs, the first couple of days were in the mid to upper 40s, and then by the end of the week, the morning temperatures were in the high 40s, and the daytime highs were in the 60s. So
that's good.
But it was a leaden gray sky almost universally the entire time I was there. It's just like, yeah. I was glad to get back to the sunshine here, but man, it's hot.
Yeah.
So how was your week?
Good. I held a couple training. Was conducting some training today and yesterday, so I'm glad that is done. And I had my youngest turned 5 last week, so I had a birthday celebration for him.
Oh, nice.
So I guess last time we did our game, I was camping, so that was already talked about. So yeah, just got my oldest back from college, so it's good to have her back in town for the summer, and yeah, spend a lot of family time.
Yeah, it was nice because there were people from several different parts of the country there in our family. My cousin, whose son was getting married, they live in Detroit, or just in the suburb of Detroit. And then I had cousins from Utah that were there. They're right in Salt Lake City. And then, of course, I was there from Florida. And then the girl that he married, she had relatives in town from New York. One guy is a pastor in New York City that was there, and then there were some people from Minnesota that were there, and some people from Iowa that were there as well. So,
oh wow,
yeah, so got a chance to meet and greet several different groups of people from all over the place.
Yeah, cool. Hey,
Sounds
Paul, how's it
lovely.
going?
Hey guys, how are we?
Hey, Paul.
Good.
Welcome.
Thank you. How have our week's been? Sounds like you're up to something fun, Gally.
Yeah, I was on vacation. I was
well deserved.
Michigan. Yes.
Were you near any of the Great Lakes?
Yeah, the wedding was in a little town called Cass City. That is about halfway about halfway up the thumb on the Lake Huron side, so on the east side of the state. And hello. And then that's way out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, Cass City is called Cass City, but it didn't even have a hotel that was large enough for all those of us out of town to stay. We had to go to a town 20 something miles away called Bad Axe. Um,
That sounds like a
What was it called?
A D&D city. Bad
yeah,
axe.
Bad
Yeah,
Axe.
it does,
yeah.
doesn't it? It's like or cold or something. This is
Yeah.
bad
Yeah.
axe. Welcome.
That's what it says. Bad axe. That is
Yep,
cool.
Bad Axe. Yeah.
That's
So,
awesome. Well, you know,
I've seen some funny towns, but that's a good one.
It sounds like, you know, these are cities you've never heard of, so they must be pretty safe cities, right? Because you don't hear of any crazy news stories coming out of a place called Bad Axe. So
yeah. Well, it's very rural, so of course that comes along with its own sort of
challenges,
sort of things. Yeah, but you know, it was fine. Everybody in the hey, Dorsafir, thank you. We, you know,
You're
everybody
welcome.
was having a good time, and the young lady that my cousin's son married, she is a PK, so she's a preacher's kid, and the father's brother is also a pastor. But the one father has a church there in Cass City, and his brother is a pastor in New York City. So that was
it's got to be two extremes right there.
Yeah, that was very interesting. So, but needless to say, we were talking about food a lot because there's a lot of foodies in that family, especially with someone that's posted in New York City.
Tell me more. Carry on.
Yeah, yeah. So we were talking about the one of the little towns that I stayed in. It's not actually a little town anymore. It's part of the metro area of Detroit. It's a town called Dearborn, which is where Henry Ford built his first factory. And Dearborn had an influx in the early 20th century, had an influx of Lebanese immigrants that came to work in the factory. And because of those people coming in all throughout the 20th century, as that town grew, it has attracted a lot of people from all over the Mediterranean, the Middle East, and even Southeast Asia. So there's about a 5-block area up and down Michigan Avenue that my hotel was right in the middle of that area, where, you know, you spin a globe, put your finger down on some random country, and there's probably an ethnic restaurant in that area. So, you know, it's like, I want some good Mediterranean food tonight. Well, I can go over there. I want some good Indian food tonight. I can go over there. I want, you know, this kind of food. I can go over there. So that was really nice. And to have all of it walkable from the hotel was even better, so that I didn't have to get in the car and drive anywhere. When I go up there, I usually stay with my cousins, but I made the decision to get a hotel because they were getting ready to have their kid get married, and it's like the last thing they need is an extra person in the house, you know, because they're going to be frantic enough trying to get stuff ready, even though they're parents of the groom. Still, they were in charge of organizing all of the food for the rehearsal dinner and getting lodgings for all of the out-of-town people from both families. So they had a lot to do. All right. Well, that's enough about vacations. I've heard a few more beeps. I think most people are here in Roll20 now. So what I am going to do is I am going to go on and bring down the music and Sirenscape, and we will get started with our recap. All right. Welcome back, everybody, to session 89 of the Sword Coast Chronicles. I am DM Galabond. I am joined by most of the players in Discord and on Roll20. And tonight we find ourselves in Strixhaven, the University of Strixhaven. The last couple of sessions, people have been going around and pretty much outside of game, they've been figuring out what sort of things they want to buy. There were some people that researched several important topics at the library in our last session. So we found out more about
Hey,
the city of.
Steve. How do I hook up my headphones?
You are. You need to mute, Goonie.
Told you I don't have a 2-for-1.
Okay.
Well, how did I use my head? Oh, never mind.
Yep.
God damn it.
Goonie, you need to mute.
All right, where am I?
I
Never
don't think she
mind.
can hear us because it's a 2-for-1 mic.
Okay.
She
Duh,
can
I
only
got it.
hear you.
This is
Headphones
great.
right
Okay,
here.
I'm just gonna do that for a minute.
Oh,
Yes.
of course. I don't
Um,
have any available
all right.
fucking.
So, Goonie,
There.
when you get your
Love it.
sorted out, let me know.
We've all been there. Where the hell's the damn hole? Can't find it anywhere.
Okay.
Can you guys hear
All right.
me?
So,
Yes.
Yes, we hear you
We
now
have been.
again. We've been hearing you the whole time.
Hello.
So, all right. So, all right. So, is she on now? Ah, there we go. Okay. All right. So, all right. Well, let's not worry about that now. All right. Let's see. Can I? All right. So, are you there, Goonie?
I am.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah. We could hear you while you were trying to figure out how to plug your headset in, so I had to
I
mute you.
apologize.
Oh,
I completely forgot. My desktop died. And so we are trying to cobble together something using my
Okay.
laptop. So all of a
Yeah.
sudden I'm like, why can't I hear anything through my headphones?
All right. So,
Back.
what we are going to do this evening is now that people have done some research before we come all back together to hear about that research, we are going to catch up with Krenraid because Krenraid had something that he wanted to do. And we're going to start this evening with that. And Krenraid, as I recall, you were looking to find out more about these spirit statues that you find around the campus, and then seeing about perhaps a non-standard flame tongue weapon. So let us go and see what that is about. So in the discussions that you've heard about the various campuses, you know that these spirit statues are something that are found in the Lorehold campus, which is where you guys are staying. So when you go out of your quarters and get out and you start looking around, you see a group of statues over there that look like they have some scaffolding around them. Almost all of the statues look like they have some scaffolding around them. And these statues are all about maybe 20 feet tall. And most of them, by their features, they look like they are humans. There is one statue that does not have scaffolding around it. And then you see that statue reach up and scratch its head and put its arm down. And and then you see it point at something, and it's looking at the ground while it does, and it seems to be talking. And as you move closer to that area, you realize that statue is not a statue, it's a stone giant. And standing around the feet of the stone giant and around the scaffold covered statues are several humans, elves, dwarves, and whatnot. And as you walk up first, um, you can see that the stone giant is now scratching its chin, and it's looking at one of the statues, and it says, yes, I can see past Razor. Uh, this is a problem with the particular stone that we quarried for this statue. It seems that there is a fault right here. Now, what have you learned in your third year classes that would let you repair that? And uh, the elf who he's talking to is looking at it, and he looks at the statue, and then seems to brighten a little bit and turns back to the giant and says, uh, would it be stone shape? And the giant says, well, stone shape would work. That's a very powerful spell. Oh, this seems to be a small crack. But other students, do we want to presume that a small crack on the surface is simply a small crack? And one of the other students, who is a dwarf, says, no, Professor. It could be a crack that runs all the way through. I think stone shape might be the right spell. And then that dwarf looks over and sees you coming, and he kind of raises an eyebrow because you're a dwarf he doesn't recognize here on the campus. And then several other students look in your direction, and eventually the stone giant notices, and he turns and he looks at you and he says, oh, well, hello, Master Dwarf. May I help you?
Hello there, my name is Crimray. Pleasure to meet you. I have come because I've seen these golems walking around here. We're staying over there in the dean's offices. With me and my friends, right? We just came back from this adventure, and I see all these, these constructs walking around, right? And they're unlike anything I've ever seen. I used to be a stonemason, so out of curiosity, if I'd pop one down and ask how they're made. But to be honest, it looks like you've just answered my question. You got a stone giant here. Who knows what he's doing? I met a stone giant down at Gracklestug, and he was very clever.
Well, I am Professor Osgir. They call me the Reconstructor. And I am teaching a course this year to past raisers. These are some of our third year pledge mages in Lorehold College who focus on relics of the past, which is a special passion of mine. And now these are statues of some of the generals from the first war with the Auric. These were humans and elves, and some half-elves, and some other races that lived over 1,000 years ago. And we are creating their statues to house their spirits, so that we can better learn from them. But I think perhaps what you are talking about with the statues that walk around, you may be interested in the spirit statue mascots. Is that what you are seeking?
No. I saw these these massive stone giants, right? That were just kind of lumbering around, doing their own thing outside the window when I was here last. Like to me, they look massive. Maybe they were small because they were close up, but from up there, they look pretty big.
Ooh. Well. He scratches his cheek and he says, Past raisers, what kind of creatures might Master Krenray, or I am sorry, should I say Professor Krenraid?
Yes, people have been calling me that.
Oh, forgive me. What sort of creatures would you say visiting Professor Krenraid might have seen? And they start thinking, trying to come up with ideas, and then one of them says, well, could he have seen an archaic? And the stone giant says, well, I suppose if you saw an archaic, yes, they would be massive, but they normally do not come on the campus. Did you see them strolling about the campus, or did you just see them from your window and notice they were very large?
I just saw them from my window and noticed they were very large. It's quite possible it was one of these archaic things.
Yes, the archaics are very, very special creatures indeed. They often are found out away from the campus. And since you are a visiting professor, you may not be completely aware. Class, would someone like to explain to visiting Professor Krenraid what the archaics are? And a dragonborn raises a hand, and the Professor Asgir says, "Yes, Lamfath. Oh, please explain." And Lamfath says, "Oh, well, Professor Krenraid, the archaics are towering, multi-armed creatures, overflowing with magic. Usually they are found out in the solitude of the wilderness, but in truth, sometimes they are drawn near to the campus because every archaic that exists in the world is the reincarnated soul of a former oracle of Strixhaven. Now, it is not known exactly how it happens, but when an oracle passes away and dies, its soul travels back towards the beginning of time, and it is infused within the explosion of magic that created our 5 founder dragons. And that magic infuses the soul and gives it the form of the very large, multi-armed, stone appearing creatures that we call archaics.
Oh, thank you.
They are possessed with great wisdom, And it is considered a very great honor to see one, and an even greater honor to speak to one. But it is said by all of the professors that I have ever known, which are only 3, who have ever actually spoken to an archaic, that the answers an archaic gives are cloaked in riddles, and unraveling the meaning of something that an archaic tells you may take a lifetime. Some reading that I have done speculates that this is because the archaics are afraid that if they spoke plainly, it would reveal too much knowledge too quickly for any mortal mind to comprehend. So
you guys didn't make them, right?
Oh, no. The powers that created this very place and our founder dragons are behind the creation of the archaics.
Okay. Because I was kind of curious. They would make really great defenders of the dwarf hold, or they'd be quite useful for construction or something else like that. But if they're not like made by you guys, then forgive me for my impertinence, my fellow professor. And students, enjoy your day. I will let you get back to your lesson. I don't want to disturb you any longer.
And the stone giant will tell you, if you want to know more about the statues that we do create, I would send you to one of my colleagues. He is a Shadar-kai battle medium named Thetan, and you will find him to the south in one of the halls over there. And he points south across the big chasm that runs through the middle of the campus.
If you're trying to attune spirits to your statues, I would use spirits that you already have on hand, just as a heads up, because something's happening and I don't really understand it. Have fun! Walks away.
And they all kind of look at each other and they scratch their heads, and the professor, just the stone giant professor, looks at you and looks back at the students and just shrugs, and then they go back to the lesson. And it's not long before Krenraid finds another professor. Oh, go ahead.
Is it possible very quickly that I could try and pick up tack?
Sure.
Goonie, do you want to come have a look at this stuff? Is there something that would interest tack?
Possibly, but Mr. GM, did you take a look at your messages?
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw it.
Okay. So you really haven't had the ability to find Tack lately. It's like he kind of disappeared.
Oh, that's not good. That's got me worried. Okay. Priorities might be shifting very soon for Conrad.
No, he just he was with you guys for a while, and then it seems like you only see him for a few minutes here and there, and then he's kind of disappeared again for a while.
Yeah, so, again, without... Did he say anything, do you reckon?
No, but he's been looking distracted.
Okay, well... Yeah, I think Conrad's priorities might be shifted very soon then.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. So we'll carry on to this... he assumed is this new professor, or do you want to head to the blacksmith?
I guess. Well, he kind of pointed you towards this professor.
Yeah, so finding out more about the those kind of statues, right?
Yeah.
I think Crenraid would be wanting to check out the armory. He was more interested in the giant walking constructs, and now he has an answer, so he's happily moving on. Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So, when by the time you get over there, you make some inquiries, and then the battle medium will send you over to the forge to talk with a professor who is a half-orc war singer named Ronicle. Who and the war singers are the people that work with ancient sort of battle magic, and Thaden doesn't quite understand whether such a thing has ever been done as a flame tongue mace. But he says if anybody knows whether that's been done or how it could be done, it would probably be the war singers. So as you go over there, you do see, in fact, there is a professor who is a very large half-orc that is dressed like like an expert blacksmith, and he is in the center of this large forge area, and there are about 15 anvils arrayed in front of him in a little bit more than a semicircle. It's kind of about 3/4 of a circle, and there is a large forge fire in the middle of it. And he's up on kind of a raised platform on one side of that fire, and there are students standing at most of those anvils. There's a couple of them that don't have any students at them, but it doesn't look like people are missing. It just looks like there's no materials or anything at those. So they are working on making what looks like some short swords, and he finishes up a little bit of oration and says, "Now begin." And you hear them all start hammering on their anvils, and then he looks over and he sees you, and he nods to you, and then he sees that you're kind of waiting for somebody. So he steps down from a little platform and he walks around and he comes over to you and he says,
"Oh, don't let me disturb you. You guys are on a roll."
"Oh, well, it's no disturbance. The students, they are in the middle of their assignment. Today they are making short swords for the practice yard. Oh, I am Professor Ronicle. Oh, how can I help you?"
Professor. Oh, yeah, okay. You're the guy I need to see. Right. So, I've been looking for someone. Well, okay, I'll start at the beginning. I saw a sword, right, that we found when we killed Imrith, Doom of the Desert. And in her treasure trove, there was a sword that lit up on fire. And I was like, "Whoa, that's amazing. What is that? That's so useful. You could roast marshmallows on it. You could roast people on it. You could turn it into like a bonfire or something." I was like, "That's amazing." So when I asked around if they had like a hammer variant of that, I'm a zealot in the service of Fabrical, so hammers are a quite big part of our religious beliefs and whatnot. Yeah, which is very typical. And I was like, I would love a more version of that. That'd be so great because I could cook eggs on it. It's got like a flat surface. I could maybe put some bacon on it and cook that out. It'd be a bit easier than just sliding off a sword, because it's got a bit of a taper to it. I was like, that's going to be absolutely beautiful. And I got this here hammer, right, called Carbide. Oh, sorry, my name's Crenraid, so my apologies. I'm staying at the dean's offices at the Lawhold campus with some adventurers that are visiting. I think I've been called a professor several times, whatever that means. And I'm thinking that I want to have that flaming sword be a flaming hammer. It was called a flame tongue. I've got no idea what that means.
Yes. Well, a flame tongue is a well known among certain magical artisans. A flame tongue is a ritual that is done to a blade that causes it to be able to hold fire on command. Now, I have known many different ways of making flame tongue blades. I myself have made several with the help of some summoners who can bring in fire elementals and chip off pieces of those fire elementals that are used in the forging of the blade. But I have also heard tell that if you have a forge that is powered by the fires of an ancient red dragon, let us say, that because of the innate magic in that dragon, every so often when a weapon is forged there, it has the flame tongue property. Now, I have never heard of flame tongue being applied to something other than a sword. But now that you mention it, that would be very interesting indeed. A flame tongue maul, you say? A large two-handed hammer. And it is curious that you would think about cooking food on it, but I suppose you could when it is held alight. Most of the time, the fire is used either to provide light or to impart fire damage to your opponents when you strike them with a weapon. But, there are other uses for fire.
I think having it on hand, especially on something like a maul, could be quite helpful.
Yes. Oh, well. Now you say you are staying at the Dean's wing, Lorehold Dean's wing. Um, are you guests of some of our faculty here?
I think they said they were ex-faculty. This old man and this other old man, what was their names again? Basically, there's these very powerful wizards, right? And they open this portal, and every single time I try and think about, whether they're real or not, I put my fist through, or I put some alcohol on them. But this time it was real, right? And he took us here. What was his name again? I'm gonna roll a wisdom check because I don't think Quimro would necessarily remember.
Oh, are you talking about Professor Emeritus Mordenkainen?
Morden. Yeah, that was it. Mordenkainen. Yeah. I just called him Old Grumpy Git because he really acts like one.
Well, you seem to be on quite familiar terms with him, even if you don't recall his name.
Oh, we freed him from a crypt. He was stuck down there, so he was very thankful. Well, kind of.
Oh. So you assisted the mighty Mordenkainen?
I mean, we freed him, to be honest. I don't think he could have got out without us. Me and my friends, that is, of course.
Oh, my goodness. And then you say you struck down a creature called Imrith with a title, The Doom of the Desert?
Yeah, she was this gargantuan blue dragon, right? She could bow under the ground. She had, sons and daughter dragons. And we teamed up with some giants and dragons, formed I think was called a historic alliance, although I didn't really see the reason why two big creatures wouldn't just fight together in the first place. And then we fought this giant Doom of the Desert, and I had her in a headlock, and I took her to the ground, and then my good friend, when my good friends slayed the beast while I grappled it and had it in a headlock. It was great. Oh, I was the size of a giant then, and much smaller now.
My goodness, you managed to get A dragon with a title like that in a headlock? Oh,
I was much bigger. My arms were wider.
Oh, even so, that is very impressive. Well, I would be quite interested in learning some of your uh, unarmed fighting techniques. And in exchange for that, I would be happy to do some research on what might be required to create a flame tongue weapon with a maul, let us say.
I mean, that sounds like a done deal to me. We get to wrestle a bit, and you're gonna do this speaky worky work. Oh, that sounds like a great deal. I mean, obviously, I'll throw I'll throw in some beer afterwards if you're down for that kind of thing.
Well, if you have access to some good dwarven ale, I am a connoisseur, sir, of dwarven ale. I know that not many half-orcs get a chance to drink good dwarven ale alongside dwarves, but I have always found that to be one of the nectar of the gods, let us say.
Oh, no disagreement here.
Well then, I have to finish this class. I will be about 2 more hours with this class, and then I have another class in the early evening. Let us say by 9 o'clock, I could come over to the dean's wing. We could set up a time then to work on these techniques, and we could share a mug or two of ale.
Oh, that sounds absolutely wonderful. Yeah, okay. I've got a good friend. His name's Tack. He works for a very famous dwarven brewery, and he must have some of his good stock in his thingy. What is it called? Oh, he's got a thingy. Yeah, he's got a thingy. But I'll go find him. I'll get the alcohol. I'll be there at 9.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much. Our fun students are in good hands here. This guy knows what he's talking about. Clearly a genius.
And he reaches out to give you kind of a warrior's handshake, clasping your forearm.
I'll hug him.
Okay. You hug him, and he hugs you kind of awkwardly, and you see that the students, they kind of look up, and they presume like you must be some old colleague of his or something like that, and then do you take off after that and head back?
Not quite, because the hug was a ruse.
Oh, okay. All right.
The first lesson in Crenright's unarmed combat. I've got him in the hug. I'm taking him to the ground.
Okay, so this is going to be you try to grapple him and then try to take him to the ground. Okay, so this will be an opposed strength check. So go ahead and make your roll for your strength check.
Oh.
Okay.
Whoops.
That tracks.
And he tries to avoid being grappled and taken down, and he does. And as you try to do that, he gives you kind of a look, and he just sort of slips out of your grip a little bit. And as he does, a kind of a toothy grin splits his half-orc face, and he just sort of holds you by one arm, and he says, Be careful now, don't slip. And he gives you a little wink.
And so you should be teaching me.
And he says, I can tell we're going to have a good time.
I'll walk away.
All right. So he watches you go a little bit, and then he turns back, and as you get out of the way, you can hear him going over and instructing a couple of the students as they are working on their weapons. All right. And then let's see. So that is tech. Or I'm sorry, that is Krenraid. And then let me go over here. Okay. All right. So, I need to do this and move that there. Okay. As you guys finish up sort of your various errands in different parts of the campus, you return back towards the dean's wing, and as you all return to the dean's wing, we'll say that everybody gets back probably about the same time. I think at the end of the last session, Thaldor had sort of overheard that Bell was looking for Falliger. So the three of them probably met up at the library as they were leaving the library and returning back from the main campus. And then Mulek had been off talking to some professors about some spells. I believe we decided that for allowing the Strixhaven faculty to spend some time with Piddlewick, you were going to be able to choose up to 5 levels of spells. So you already have chosen one first level, I believe, and then so you would get a chance to choose either a 4th level, 4 first level, or 4 more first level, or some sort of combination that adds up to 4 spell levels.
Yeah, I've done that.
Okay, that you could add to your spell book. And then as you get back towards the Dean's Wing, you come up there, and you guys discover that Tack is not around. Mordenkainen is there, and Mordenkainen is there with what looks to be like a large black dog. Large black dog that looks something like a greyhound. And Mordenkainen is standing there, and he's holding an envelope in his hands. And he is looking at the dog, and it seems almost like he's probably been talking to this dog, but he's not talking. He's just got this envelope, and he's sort of idly fidgeting with the envelope as you all come up, and he turns to you and he looks and he says, "Oh, hello. This I believe is for you." And he holds the envelope out to you guys as you come up. Anybody want to take it?
Hey guys, nice to see you again. Where's Tack?
Well, I think that this letter may answer some of those questions. And
I'm not very good at the whole reading thing, could someone else do that?
Theodore grabs the letter quick and in a hurry.
Okay, and when you take it, you can tell that it's kind of a padded envelope. And you can see on there that it says, to my adventuring companions. And the envelope is not signed.
It's odd. So, I opened the envelope.
Okay. When you open the envelope, you find a folded parchment in there. You also find a folded piece of black silk in there. And as you begin to pull this black silk out, you realize from the way it's folded over that if it is folded out, it is a portable hole.
Why would... So I start reading the letter. I realize it's Tack's portable hole, and I'm just looking at it. And I look down and I take it and I hand it to Fallinger and go, "What's going on? Let me finish reading the letter. Here, Fallinger. This is a portable hole. You should know that it's tagged. So let me finish reading this." So I continue reading the letter.
Okay, so the letter says, "To my companions and friends. After our latest adventure, I realized that life can be very fleeting. After having my eyes open to the possibility of what exists out there, I've decided to hang up my adventuring gear for the time being and take my share of the treasure and go back to Waterdeep and look into opening that inn that I've always wanted to. I got an answer back on my inquiry into a location I got a heads up about last time we were there. I've got the desire to get started creating my own brand of dwarven libations, and this will take time. That being said, you guys will always have a place to stay when in Waterdeep, and who knows, if the inn does well in the near future and my brand turns out well, I may have the time to go adventuring with you at some point again in the future. And with this note, you'll find my portable hole. I bought a haversack of holding to haul my coin and gear I need to get back to Waterdeep. I left quite a bit of stuff from our adventures, so help yourself to whatever you need. Until we next meet, Karaticus Bottlesender."
You see kind of a tear roll down Theodore's eye a little bit. And he's like, I was going to help him set up his bar, but I look down at Crenraid and I go, I let the whole group know at the same time, but I look at Crenraid and go, well, looks like Tack took the part of the treasure that he won from our fight and decided to go into the barkeep business, and he's back in Waterdeep. Also, he said if we ever come to Waterdeep, we always have a place to stay. So apparently he went and bought him a tavern. So he's no longer going to be here with us.
Oh.
Huh.
Well,
Okay.
that makes me sad he didn't say goodbye, but I'm glad he accomplished his dream. That always was his kind of deal, right? He wanted to open a tavern, he even looked for one. So
yeah. I mean,
I guess I'm kind of glad.
Yeah. So, and I hand the letter to Fallinger.
About that time, that black dog comes kind of trotting up to you guys. And
Oh, wait a minute. I think I know that dog. Can I roll a perception check?
Sure.
Because I do have keen mind, and it's been less than 30 days. I'll just roll a perception check.
Sure, you can roll one.
Anything less than a 20, I'll be disappointed.
Nat 20.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, there is something familiar in the gait of that dog. Something about the way that dog lopes over towards you.
You see Theodore reach into his knapsack, pull out a piece of jerky, get on his knees, and go, "Come here, Des."
And
and the dog's like, arf.
That's
Well,
not Des.
kinda
That's a
just
dog.
stare
What are you
and say-
talking about?
All right, Grenade,
that
just wait,
mine?
watch.
Sorry, Belle. What did you say?
Was that my piece of jerky?
No, I gave you jerky. This is an extra piece I had in my bag.
Still could have been mine. She'll kind of mumble it. She'll kind of like just look at her paws and lick and just stare at the dog.
And about that time, he transforms back into Des and gives you all a bit of a smile, but it looks a little sad. And
Morton,
go ahead.
Morton Kanan laughs and says, "Ha ha! I told you they would recognize you."
Oh my God, it's Des!
I told you, Grenade.
How in the world did you find us here?
Actually, it was very much a coincidence, but it appears that the reason that I went home and the reason that I am now here is has something to do with what is going on in regards to what is happening to Morden Canaan, has happened to several of the elders of my tribe. And he's wearing a little bit different regalia than he was before. And he looks down at himself and goes, I am now the deep seeker of my tribe. So, because those that would have been in succession or could have taken that position are either very ill or have passed on due to what's going on. So I came here looking for Morden Cadenan, and he explained to me what was going on and that you guys had just arrived and were going to be helping him with this issue. So it looks like we are after the same information.
You see Theodore just run up to Des and give him a big hug.
Oh, I'm coming in too. Coming in hot. Taking the legs.
Oof. Well, it's very good to see you too. And he gives you a hug back.
Perfect timing, I gotta say. We just lost one of our other companions.
Oh, I wouldn't say lost. He just, from the sounds of it, has decided to go a different path for the time being, but you'll see him again, I'm sure.
I mean, he sounds like he accomplished what he wanted to accomplish, so I'm honestly just glad for him. It would be nice to say goodbye for like a proper meal, but that's okay. We could welcome you a proper meal to the cafeteria.
I think Morning Canyon wants to talk to us first, Grenade.
Can he talk to us over food? We're celebrating.
Oh, certainly. We can talk over food. I would like to hear from some of you about what you learned. From the discussion I recall this morning, you were going off to find out different pieces of information. Mulek, I think you were looking into some different spells. What were you able to find?
Oh, yeah. I picked up a couple simple spells that are kind of unique to this place. They kind of fall into my wheelhouse. I don't know if you've ever heard of silvery barbs. It's a nifty little trick to kind of play with those who try to harm us. A couple other little spells that have some movement properties and healing properties. So nothing super fancy, but I was able to, pick up a little bit of knowledge here and there.
And he says, "Oh, very good." Says, this Strixhaven, they have some strange ideas. They all obviously know who I am and who Leomund and Autoluke and Tensor are. But do you know that they had the audacity to ask if there was anything that we could offer them in order for them to impart any of their spells to us? Ha! As if I would not know or be able to figure out everything that these people have figured out with enough time. It's almost an insult. But of course, they gave us these wonderful accommodations and have given us titles, and we get to choose the classes that we teach. So it's not all bad.
Well, they probably don't want to impose on your time, and they know that you're busy and are just appreciative of what time you are able to spare them.
Oh, yes, well, as they should be. And so that's wonderful. I'm glad you were able to get some information out of them, acquire some new magical spells. Tell me, did they ask an arm and a leg of you?
No, and it's funny you asked that, guys. I've loaned them Piddlewick in exchange for learning a few spells. They are going to look at Piddlewick and see what they can learn from him. And Piddlewick, I think, is going to enjoy not being locked up in my bag for a while. And we have an agreement of terms that when we arrive back here, that Piddlewick will be free to rejoin us. And Piddlewick went on his free accord. So that's sort of a win-win, I think. So
probably should have took all the darts out of him.
Yeah, they know of the darts. I think we got that kind of taken care of, and hopefully they will be careful with Piddlewick and keep an eye on Piddlewick. And I think I gave them good warning on that.
Did you tell them that he originated in a domain of dread?
Well, I did mention Barovia, so how much they know of Barovia, I can't recall, but I warned them as much as I could, so hopefully all will be well. And I kind of whispered to Thaldor, I'm like, yeah, he already tried to attack something, but I was able to protect him.
I whisper back, I imagine.
And Mordenkainen says, Well, they've asked me to give a lecture next week. So I think maybe in a way you have helped me determine the topic that my lecture will be on. I think I will give a lecture on the nature of the domains of dread. They ought to know a little bit about the kind of place that this little guy comes from. I'm sure you gave all the precautions to whatever professor or dean you spoke with, but they need to make sure that everybody understands. So, thank you, Mulek. That's in a way that you've helped me now solve a problem, which was, what was my topic for the speech going to be? But now I know. Haha,
Good. Glad I could help.
wonderful. And then he turns to Falliger and Bell, and he says, and he includes Thaldor as well. He says, and you all were headed to the library to do some research. Thaldor, did you learn anything useful?
A little. Enough to my liking, but I wish I could have got deeper into the tomes and books, but I don't think we have enough time.
And so you relate a little bit about what you learned about a Sararak and
his traps and his and everything. I'm well prepared to go into any dungeon that's been created by a Sararak.
And he says, yes, and let that be a lesson to all of you. And he includes Dez. If a Sararak has the gall to lay a trap for a demigod, he's not going to hesitate to toy with any random adventurer that comes along. So be very, very attentive to everything that you find when you go into this place. Once you figure out how to get in, of course, that's going to be the first part of the puzzle, is figuring out how to get into the place. And then he says to Falliger and to Bell, he says, and what did you all learn? Anything useful on the city of Omu or what you might find there?
I found out that those botmen, those really tall thingies, they don't like cats. They're prejudiced against us. I'm not allowed to make my bed. I'm not allowed to do anything fun. And then they chase me for trying to find out where everyone is.
He gives you a confused look. He says, I'm not sure I quite follow. When you say these tall thingies?
Yes, these tall thingies. They're like giant little machine things with robes and, I don't know, things.
Oh, you're not talking about the archivists, are you?
Yeah, I believe that's what she's...
I don't know what the word is.
That's what she's referring to, although I like to call them heavy metal librarians.
Oh, the Cogwork archivists. Well, if they were chasing you, then that's because you were doing something to disturb people in the library.
Well, what could you have been doing, Bale? That was so bad. He just kind of like gives you a look like, oh, this ought to be good.
I was not doing anything out of my norm. I was just trying to relax, and I was trying to make like a bookcase so I could find a perfect place to study, and I couldn't study very well. And then on top of that, then they have the audacity to try and chase me after I'm trying to find Falliger because he ran away from me. Like, that's completely fair.
Des holds up a finger and goes, note the use of wasn't doing anything out of the normal. And we know what her normal is.
Being too loud.
And Morden Kanan just sort of knuckles his mustaches, and you can tell that he's kind of trying to hide a smirk. And he says, yes, well, I can see that might cause a little bit of a ruckus, but nothing that would cause any permanent damage. Yes, Falliger, please go ahead.
Well, when she was doing that, I got into some research and I got a little lucky, I think. Learned a lot about Omu and the deities that they're referred to in that region, and about some of the races that live there, some of their customs, things like that.
So you found something on the 9 trickster gods. Yes, heard of them, but did not know much about them. And as you recount what you heard, he says, "Oh, yes, okay, that would be useful." And that information about the cataclysm is very good. Perhaps that pillar they spoke of with that temple on top of it, that might be something to investigate. And then as Falliger talks about some of the other lore on the Vegapygmies and the Grung and everything, Mordenkainen nods, and then he looks at Bell. He says, "Now, those frog people, they look colorful, but don't lick them. They're poisonous. Okay? You
It
can't be
just gives you
going.
a look like, lick them. Oh, God. Ugh.
You can't be sticking strange creatures into your mouth, Bell. If you don't
Says
know,
who? You're just an old man. Probably lived for years and years and years.
Yeah, but that means he stuffed a lot of creatures into his mouth, so it's probably wise words.
How did they taste? I want to know.
they taste
Very
like poison.
bitter. Very bitter. Like poison.
Mm.
And then Falliger, that last name, Rosnice. That is a name that came up, but I came up in some of our reading about Chult, but we didn't realize that he had gone to ground in Omu. Yes, Rosnice was a very, very wicked necromancer. Thought he could become king of all of Chult by raising an undead army from all of the peoples and all of the adventurers that had died in the jungle and go and take over Port Nyanzaru. But apparently he got stuck there in Omu and now is part of that clan of Yuan Ti.
Yeah, that group gives me the heebie-jeebies. Apparently they worship Dendar as their lead deity, and well, where that name is spoken, no good deeds can be done. I can tell you that.
Yes, Dendar the Night Serpent. That is a creature that was old when the roots of the world were set down. It's supposed to be one of the elder powers, an evil elder power, and it is said that the world began when Dendar vomited it up, and that Dendar is always coiling around the world, and when Dendar finally gets coiled all the way around the world, he will swallow it again, and time will end. Only very wicked people follow him. Lots of blood sacrifice and everything involved in worship of that one. Be careful.
I mean, to be honest, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think that cult's worse than Tiamat's cult.
Well, they probably give each other a run for the money. It depends on what time. Right now, the cult of Tiamat seems to be in the ascendancy. They may have more power just because of their sheer numbers at this time, but all things being equal, Tangling with either one of them when they are at much of any strength is probably bad news.
Well, all I know is that we've been to a few places and a few scrapes, but nothing like Cholt. I mean, we're talking thousands of miles of jungle that you can die within 20 steps and taking into it. And I mean, they got a whole different society down there. I heard they got dinosaurs down there. Okay?
What?
Yeah, dinosaurs, Kenraid. You know what a
Eat
dinosaur
those?
is?
What the hell's a dinosaur?
Okay, imagine a chicken,
Yeah.
but a chicken the size of a house.
What?
So
Okay, this sounds. We need to go there immediately. Imagine how much chicken we could eat.
Well,
And
That's great.
so we've got undead things running around in the jungle, and that's just one of 1,000 different things that can kill you. And then, from what I read, Omu is just not a place you just walk into and come out unscathed. And if there's Lich involved, he's probably got himself he probably had him a stronghold or something. I don't know where. I mean, I don't like the idea of going into temples.
So,
Okay.
Ballinger, as you're saying, one simply does not walk into Omu.
That's what I'm saying.
well,
We can use a catapult, throw somebody over the wall.
the good thing is you won't have to walk in there. You won't have to catapult in there. We have a teleportation circle set up in the edge of Omu. And we're waiting for Bigby to get back and give us the final scouting report. He should be back either, from what we hear, he should be back either later today or tomorrow at the latest.
I don't know much about the inner parts of the jungle area, but I've talked to a lot of sailors and local ports in taverns, and I've heard a lot of stories and things like that. And I heard Port Naranzaru or whatever is a fascinating place. But, I mean, someone told
How many kids in this one, right?
Do what?
How many children in this one, though, right?
I'm sorry, out of character. What are you?
Do you remember when we went? He's asking if you have any more surprise children that aren't actually yours but are yours.
Oh.
No, Ballinger
So many places, okay.
Any little mini Ballinger bards running around.
Well,
Little baby bards.
damn it, Kenraid. I'm not a ship that's visited every port, if you know what I mean.
No, I mean, you're not a ship.
Then he immediately regrets putting it like that in that phrase because he knows that Kenraid's not going to understand what the hell he's talking about.
Correct.
But several others of your companions smirk and giggle.
But at the very least, I think we got to take some bug spray. I hear there's mosquitoes there the size of freaking turkeys.
Mosquitoes the size of turkeys, dinosaurs the size of giant chickens. This place sounds weird.
It's an ancient place. That's all I know.
Oh,
I'm half scared to go and half thrilled, if you ask me. I'm not really scared, but I mean, it gives me pause.
All I know is we're going to need to bring some more of your spicy sauce because if we do find one of these dinosaur things, we're going to have to eat it, okay?
Dinosaur.
What?
Dine.
I would love to dine, but not right now.
No, that's how you say it. Dinosaur.
Oh, hold on. Dinosaur. Dinosaurus.
I'll blow your mind even further, Kenraid. They have dinosaur races. It's a sport down there.
You race giant chickens?
Well, sort of.
Oh, that's just brilliant. Actually, that's really smart. You could race them because they're giant and you could ride them and then you could eat them afterwards. Belle, this is going to be great. We're going to eat everything.
They're more like giant lizards.
Was.
And believe it or not, I hear there's a lot of, well, I'll just put it this way. And he kind of looks at Belle. There's quite a few tabaxi that live down there. That's where they're from.
Belle's ears will perk up and she'll stand up straight and she'll like kind of stare at you and say, "Are you playing with my feelings?"
No, sweetheart. I'm afraid not. That's where your people come from.
Do you know if there's any of mine there? Or like just ancestors and other tribes and other things like that? Like, I wonder if an auntie's there.
I imagine there's a lot of tabaxi around the jungles of this world, but I just know that there's a big presence of them in Cholt. I mean, it's an ancient old place, and I have heard quite a few stories from sailors talk about tabaxi. That's why I wasn't surprised the first time I met you.
Can't you just look at your family slate, Belle? You know the rock which has your family tree on it.
Well, no.
Oh, you should really get one of those. It's very useful. Mine's currently, in an abandoned hold, but, it's very useful still.
Well, seeing how the place that I was at and got kind of overrun by these people with the hoods, the cult of the dragons, yeah, it's not very nice and safe place to go anymore.
Oh. Okay, well, we need to find a nice place so you can start a new family slate. Find a nice rock somewhere.
Belle will kind of smile and say, "You know what? That does sound like a plan. But eventually, maybe in a tavern, maybe in Tex Tavern so I can have my cubs there, so then my cubs will have a safe place to go next to very furry beasts." Yes.
Wait, what?
You're one of those furry beasts.
That sounds very wise.
What
Also, they have access to alcohol at a very young age, which is perfect. Gotta start them young, they gotta learn.
And as you all continue to talk, eventually you see that Leomund and Adaluk come out of two of the doors over there, and they have they have smiles on their faces, and they go over to Mordenkainen and they point at the door that leads to the chamber where you all first arrived here by teleportation circle. And Mordenkainen brightens and he says, "Ah, well, they tell me that Bigby is on his way. He should be here momentarily." And almost as soon as he finishes speaking, you hear beyond the door in that chamber, you hear a little sound like a whoosh of air, and then like a muffled pop. And then a couple of seconds later, the door opens, and standing before you is another wizard. And this, you are pretty sure, must be the wizard named Bigby. Okay, so let's see. And Bigby is a... Okay. There we go. Bigby is he is a male human. He is dressed in a kind of a brownish robe, and he has that has a cowl, He's got a nose that is kind of long and narrow. Looks like it's probably been broken once or twice. And then he has something of a scruffy Van Dyke beard around his cheeks and his chin, which seems to be very lean. And he's fairly tall. He's almost 6 feet tall, and his robes just sort of hang on him like like there's a whole lot of robe there, but not a whole lot of person underneath the robe. And he is his hair, what you can see, is light brown. His eyes are dark brown, and he has kind of a pale skin, and his cheekbones are quite pronounced, so that it looks like he's a very lean person. And he steps out. And he looks around and he smiles at Mordenkainen and Leomund and Adaluk, and he says, "Ah, yes. Well, it's good that the adventurers are here. I finished my scouting, and I have a report. But I'm quite hungry. I haven't been able to find anything decent to eat for these last 2 days. There was nothing that was quite to my liking. Do we still have the kitchen stocked here?" And Mordenkainen says, "Well, yes, of course, Bigby. You're always such a picky eater. Yes, come on. And adventurers, this is our colleague Bigby, who gave his name to the spells Bigby's Hand and several others that you may be familiar with. Come along. You mentioned something about having some dinner. We can go and join Bigby for dinner in the kitchen. And after we eat, perhaps he can tell us a little bit about what he has learned on his travels." And Krenraid, you notice by looking over at a clock over there, you notice that it's getting fairly close to 8 o'clock. So you know that in about an hour, your half-orc professor friend will come to speak to you. So you have about an hour to eat and get ready before he arrives.
Okay, yeah. I actually have a prior engagement at 9, but looks like we have an hour. I'm going to need access to that hole in a hole thing that Tack had, because he had some really nice booze in there, and I'm wondering if he left it in there. I want to try and surprise this guy with some nice dwarven ale.
Anybody see that being a problem? I don't.
No problem.
Okay.
Might check in the hole, Grenade.
I don't know how. Like, how do you just put your hand in it?
I guess me and Mulek unfolded.
Yeah, you find a flat place on a floor, or you can even put it unfolded on a wall. And as long as it's on a flat surface, it then reveals a 10-foot wide, I think 10-foot deep hole. And sure enough, among the things that you see down there in the hole, you see a barrel of Tack's favorite brandy.
Oh.
And you also see a couple of casks of ale with the bottle sunder sigil on it.
That's what. That's the one. It's the Bottle Sander Brewery. Oh man, I'm gonna miss that guy. I would have loved to learn what you do. He's gonna hug it. I knew he'd leave me something nice in his ear. Oh, what a champ! What a lad! I'm ready. Thanks for that, guys. Let me help you get it back in.
Okay, yeah. So, Krenraid, you can get the ale and or the brandy out if you wish, and that doesn't take too much time. And then Bigby will sort of give you all a little curt greeting, and he will lead the others into the kitchen area. And when he starts to go to the pantry and the larder and he starts to get out some food, you can see as his arms reach out of the sleeves of his robe, you can see that he is indeed extremely thin. He's not thin like he's malnourished, but he's just a very, very slender person, almost to the point of looking a little bit unhealthy in how slender he is. And but he doesn't show any of the signs that Adaluk and Tensor do from the wasting disease that they are suffering. So, if this guy has died and been resurrected, you presume that means he wasn't resurrected on Toril.
Interesting.
Is that something we know, like in character?
No, probably you wouldn't know that. You probably wouldn't know it. Although, I forget who I'm talking to. Falazur, you can always make a history check or something because, as a bard, and that goes for Bell as well, as bards who sing songs and tell stories and hear lore, you may have picked up something.
Yeah, he's also a cleric. Okay. Little history check.
Yeah.
Guidance.
Oh,
boo. Wait,
it's funny because
I accidentally logged out somehow. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened.
You were guided to the exit.
I don't even know. Sorry, hold on. It's rolling. Is Bell gonna make a roll or
what?
A history check to see if
Let me
see here. Make history check with guide. Yep. Guidance 4.
Okay.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So Bell got a 19. And yes, Bell, you remember a story. It's a story about Halmadar the Cruel. Might be a story, might be a song. Halmadar the Cruel was a warlord from a place that the story calls Greyhawk. And Halmadar the Cruel came into possession of some powerful artifacts. The story doesn't say what they are, but they were artifacts of a very powerful evil that caused Halmadar um, to go on a conquest and to conquer many lands and to become a very powerful and very evil king. And there was a war that his kingdom had with the kingdom of Greyhawk, or the kingdom that was led by Greyhawk City. And the Halmadar and his army were defeated and vanquished, and he was entombed somewhere under the capital city of his kingdom. And the artifacts that he had were never found. And it is said that sometime later, about 100 years after he died, there was there were several members of the Circle of Eight, including Bigby, Drawmidge, Nistel, Ottoluke, Otto, and Rary, went to the tomb of Halmadar the Cruel, and they were trying to recover these artifacts, and every single one of them that was in that party were slain. But their remains were later recovered, and they were resurrected on this place called Greyhawk. So, you know that he has died, he has been brought to life, but it was not in Toril.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what you know of Bigby's past.
He looks ill, right?
He doesn't look ill in the way that Tensor and Ottoluke do. He just looks like someone who, yeah, if you've ever seen somebody who is like one of those Olympic speed walkers or something, someone who's like fit but extremely skinny, and you take a second look at him because it's like, golly, is that person healthy? But they otherwise seem to be perfectly capable of performing their sport. That's kind of the vibe you get from him. Is
Right.
He doesn't seem sick, but he just seems almost so skinny you're afraid that a stiff breeze would blow him over.
Like if he looked like even slightly ill, I think Cranray would have tried to carry him. Because even if he is one of the big eight, he's going to carry him to the cafeteria. Is he starving? Was his reconnaissance really so bad that he had to go without food or something? But it looks like we're fine.
No, he doesn't look that way. And everybody who wants to can make me a perception check as they see Bigby filling up his plate. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Everybody so far except for Crenraid notices that Bigby is extremely picky. I mean, even there's a lot of different kinds of food there, and he only takes like 2 or 3 kinds of food, including some fruit. But even when he picks up the fruit, he will pick up a piece of fruit and he will turn it over in his hands and he will inspect it, and then he'll kind of he kind of wrinkles his nose at it and he puts it down and he picks up another of the same kind. And it's like he has to go through 4 or 5 pieces of fruit until he finds one of that kind that he likes well enough to put on his plate. So you get the sense that this is somebody who's an extremely picky eater that doesn't eat a whole lot. And, you go and you look at fruit that he's put down and you can't see anything wrong with it. But for whatever reason, he just didn't like that when he had to finally find that particular one that he put on his plate. So he's kind of one of those people. And the dinner begins. And while everybody eats dinner, I think that's a good point for us to take our break because it's about 35 after the hour. Players, thank you for joining us. Viewers, thank you for being with us this evening. I'm going to take us back to our slate. I will bring the music back up, and we'll step away for a few minutes. Oops. And there we go. And I'm going to mute my microphone. You guys can either stay here and chat, or you can move to the off-screen channel and chat. I'll be back in a bit.
I'm so excited to see Des back.
Yeah, it's nice to have him back. You just had enough of attack, Uni, or what's your feeling there? Oh, it gives me a moment.
I actually shed a real tear for Des coming back.
Yeah, I wanna hear how the character's story went, because he went back to go save his village, right?
Oh yeah.
So what he said is that he wanted to go back to go see his village, but his village is falling ill because of them being resurrected from the same thing that we're dealing with now. So I'm guessing Old Man and Old Man like 3 got back to him and said, "Hey, guess what? You can't leave us. We can fix your problems."
I'd love to hear that from, in character, if possible. I guess I might take a bit of time, though.
Might take a moment, but yes. Big hairy beast is back.
Exactly right.
You don't wake the sleeping bear.
No, absolutely not. Especially if you're in a tavern. You don't want to get turned into a frog and set a mile away by a flying bird.
I don't know how that happened.
That was Mulek.
I know.
Yeah. Send him away.
It was genius at the time.
Because the only person that was there, I think, was Mulek.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. He was outside. He was coming into the tavern, yeah.
I was trying to figure... Yeah, I mean, Mulek was basically sweating bullets. Like, oh, crap. What? Des just pissed off this guy. What can I do? And I'm like, oh, I'll turn him into a frog and I'll take him out of town.
Genius.
Excuse me.
Yeah, that was one of the funner times.
At best, he's got like a 2-day hike. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, it was. But I don't think Mulek ever told it. You never told the party that was she.
You specifically omitted that aspect.
Yeah.
Did I not share that? Oh,
I don't know if you did or not.
I think we talked about it. Like you see this guy, right? And your character's like,
Oh man.
Goonie, so glad you brought Des back.
gonna give the other one a try.
Yeah, what made you, is it just like a feeling like you just wanted to play Des again, or what made you retire TAC in the end, or, for now?
Well, part of it is TAC isn't really a big intellectual, and once we got into this area and they're starting to talk about research and school and all this stuff, and TAC's just like skin crawling. And honestly, I just did not see him contributing a lot to this adventure. Just like, the kid from Little League that just tags along behind everybody. Okay, guys, wait for me. So.
Are you saying Kren is an intellectual?
I'm hearing that I'm a kid from Little League. That's what I'm hearing.
No, but to me, it's just Des wasn't that much, or not Des, TAC wasn't that much of a deep thinker, so to speak. So he just felt uncomfortable. But again, like I said, I kind of got the sense that this was going to be something that was more Des's speed, plus what in the... Sorry, my cat just went bonkers. So part of it was we were trying to figure out a way of bringing Des back, Galabond and I, and then we hit on the idea that Des's reason for getting called home was because some of the elders were becoming very sick and dying, and nothing could work to fix them. So he was being brought home because he needed to take over the Deep Seeker position, but also his own father had passed away. So he needed to, pick up the family reins, whatever. So after a while, he discovered that they were basically saying, hey, go find, more than Caden, go find him, go talk to him. And so that's why we brought Des back. So Des is here for not only to hang out with you guys, but to also help the elders of his tribe that are very ill. So, but this is a little more right up Des's alley.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's good to see Des again, definitely. And it's going to be nice catching up in character, points.
Yeah, well, and of course, if we can solve this, and save the elders of his tribe or whatever, then, Des doesn't have to go back. Well, at least for a while, so. But yeah.
The hug was real, because I ain't lying. I literally shed a tear when I heard Des. Like, when I realized that dog was you, I was like, oh, I literally shed a tear.
So, why?
I think most of us, if not all of us, when a black dog walks up, like, ah!
So So you decided to bring Des back again, basically?
Well, the reason that, like I said, I just wasn't feeling comfortable that this upcoming adventure was anything that TAC was going to be able to participate in. It wasn't. He was going to be bored out of his mind. So that's why I had him go open up his tavern, which also gives you guys a place to stay whenever you're in Waterdeep. And part of the reason that this kind of played into the reason that Des disappeared, had to go back to his tribe, was because he had elders that were passing away for no apparent reason. They were just aging and dying, and they shouldn't have done. So he was sent out to find Morgan Kane and talk to him. What was going on? Come to find out, well, gee, because of XYZ. So he's got a vested interest in this adventure.
This is gonna be fun.
Will be. I'm
Hey,
definitely going to be pestering Des to teach me how to speak to plants. Because we never had that conversation, unfortunately. Well, we never learned.
Did you guys purchase stuff already? Did we like hand wave that? Hey, we purchased stuff on our own.
If you
and
had
we
the money.
covered all that, right? Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. I just didn't really. The prices got so expensive, I didn't know what to buy.
I for sure got my tattoo, the gloves, the dagger warning. Yeah, I mean, I got what I needed.
Yeah, I picked.
I would just add it. Yeah.
I mean, I'm only rocking a +1 armor. You know, armor class 18s. I mean, it's not too bad, Ken.
Dez is armor class 16. And Dez is gonna need some stuff.
Yep. And that's after putting on the bracers of defense.
Right. Yeah, we need to get you a +2. What weapon are you using?
Bear with
Yes, it depends which form you take, but
Yeah.
generically.
Apparently, I closed down my character sheet.
For Dez, Heather, you can feel free to use some of that gold that you guys got, or whatever tax share of that gold that you got.
Yeah, I figured that his elders would gift him. That way, I don't take away any gold from anybody else.
Oh, you didn't.
No.
I'm actually sad that I never managed to give Tak the presents that I got for him already. So that'll have to be a conversation when I next see him.
Okay. Let's see here. I apologize. He's got quarterstaff. Is his main go-to. And that's about it. The rest of it is all just his magic.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So
Magic weapon, magic armor.
yep.
That's what I'm hearing.
Magic weapon, magic armor.
Those are the biggest priorities.
Basically, I have a ring of evasion and bracers of defense. So.
Oh, you gave me the ring of evasion.
Oh, that's right. Never mind. I don't have the ring of evasion anymore.
I have your paint if you want that back too.
My paint.
Your paint. I never forgot. Luminescent paint.
Oh, that's right.
I would have written down on my nose, luminescent paint, gift of a dear friend.
So anyway, okay. So yeah, we'll need to... I'm open to suggestions. Basically, it would have been something that I would have come with. So the elders would have provided me.
Double checking, Gally. Yes. In terms of the shopping, we're doing that off screen, right?
Yeah. We pretty much had, because it was sort of the wish list of what people wanted, and then I put it in the magic item pricing. So to get some ideas, Heather, you can go through that magic item pricing channel, see what people have asked for, and the economy of this game is the same as the economy of the Sunday game, so you can go through the magic item pricing there, see if there's anything that looks particularly apt for a druid, since obviously we have a Laura in that game who would use druid items. So if there's anything that's already been priced and you think, oh, that would be good for Des, you can just use that as a pricing thing. The limitation on things that Des would have, you guys are tier 3 now, so any item that is very rare, uncommon, or common. You cannot have anything that is legendary or an artifact.
Okay.
What's Des's con, Goonie?
What's his con?
His constitution, yeah, sorry.
16.
Okay. So an amulet of health might be quite good then. Because it helps you maintain concentration as a druid. That's quite important.
Mm-hmm. All right. So there is some general conversation around the dinner table. The other members of the Circle of 8 pepper Bigby with questions, but Bigby just sort of waves those questions away and indicates that he will speak when he finishes eating. And he has, for a really skinny guy and a picky eater, he has a healthy appetite. He puts away about 2 plates of food and then goes back and gets fills up his plate about half again a third time. And then when he comes back to the table with that third plate, now he's finally eating a little bit slower. But when he told them that he couldn't find anything to eat, you get the sense it's just like, well, he couldn't find anything he liked, and if he can't find something he likes, he just doesn't eat. Again, one of those kind of people. It's a little bit of a different, odd bird compared to most people. But about that time, Krenraid, one of the people who is assigned to tend to this place shows in the professor that you were talking to before. And that would be Professor Ronigal, the half-orc.
Over here! Some friends came round. We're having a celebratory feast. Come join us.
And he smiles and he sort of waves to you, and then he comes and he walks into the dining room, and he sees who all is there. He stops short, and then he kind of reaches up to his head. He's not wearing anything on his head, but he reaches to his head as though to take a cap off, and then he just stands there a little bit awkwardly, and he looks towards Mordenkainen and Adaluk and Bigby and Leomund, and it's clear that as his eyes take in each of these faces, it's clear that he recognizes who they are, and his eyes just get a little bit wider every time he professors, my apologies, please forgive the intrusion. And Mordenkainen says, no, it's okay, come on in, sit down, there's plenty of food. Who are you? And he says, I am Professor Warsinger Ronigal, Your Eminence, or Your Emeritusness. And he seems to be trying to figure out what title.
That would just be, just call him Mordenkainen. You're giving him too much of a big swelled head.
That might be hard considering how big it is already.
Shadow starts smiling and goes, "This is another reason I missed it."
And he looks at the Furbolg, and he kind of seems a little bit shocked that the Furball would say that. And then Mordenkainen sort of narrows his eyes and says, "Well, Des, I can see that your time away didn't do anything for your sense of humor. Well."
And about this point in time, he just sticks that long stemmed pipe in his mouth and just sits there and grins.
And then the war singer goes and sits over next to Renraid.
Yeah.
And he says, I knew that Mordenkainen had come with some other professors emeriti, but I did not know there were so many prominent legends here.
I don't know about legends, but we are pretty great. That's true. But yeah, these are my friends. Let me introduce you. Over there, we have Faldor. He's like very smart, very good with his hands. You kind of get what I mean. We have Des, who you just met. The big guy. Yeah, that's Des. Yeah. Over there, that's Ivy. She's our resident no-gooder. She's my fellow trickster in heart.
Conrad, whoa, who's Ivy? That's Belle.
Oh, sorry. I was looking at the goddamn list on this on Rob's. I'm sorry, that's a piece of Ivy. I apologize. No, that's Belle.
But we'll kind of like look over at the strange person and say, "Got any treats?"
Well, what kind of treats?
So kind of look over at Kinraid and say, "Kinraid, you know better. Bring people with treats."
He's got treats. Don't worry. He's got treats like in the brain, right? This guy knows lots about flaming things, like how to flame marshmallows, how to flame eggs. You know, like if we're talking treats, this guy's got it down. Oh wait, no, sorry, he's a blacksmith. No, he's the guy who's going to teach me how to do that. Yeah. Over there, that's Mulek. He's the one who taught me how to be a wizard. You know, all the finger waggling nonsense. He's the one that taught me how to do that. So he's a very proficient wizard.
And the rest of you can see that, every time Krenraid talks about being a wizard, the half-orc just sort of cuts his eyes at him and, raises an eyebrow dubiously. But he doesn't say anything. It's like, after all, this guy is in the company of Mordenkainen, so he might indeed be a powerful wizard. Who knows?
Over there, we have Faluja. Faluja is our resident bard. He had a kid in a city that wasn't really his kid, but it was somebody else's kid, but said it was his kid. He's got a bit of a reputation, but he's really famous, like super duper famous. And he gave me this really awesome cowbell, makes a funny sound.
Renraid, you're giving the poor man whiplash.
I don't know what that. I don't have a whip. I don't know what that is. Anyway, how was your class? Did you manage to find anything out? I know we're getting right into it, but how are we looking?
Well, I was able to, between classes, I was able to do a little bit of research, and I believe that there may be a way, if I have the opportunity to talk to some of my colleagues over at the Quandrix College. There is a story about Tanazur Quandrix. Tanazur Quandrix, who is one of the... oh no, I'm sorry. That's not... It's not him. Sorry. Oh, about Galazeth Prismari. Galazeth Prismari is the founder dragon of Prismari College. And if I can talk to some of my colleagues in Prismari College, I believe that if we can beseech Galazeth Prismari, he may be able to lend some fires with his breath to a forge that would let us forge any weapon we desire as a flame tongue. But that, of course, will require the founder dragon to come on campus, and that's a very rare thing indeed.
Wait, if we just need a dragon, we have plenty of dragon friends. Does it have to be that dragon?
Oh, yes. At least here in Strixhaven, it has to be that dragon.
You can't just put any old weapon into a fire created by a dragon and it will just turn into one of these thingies then.
No, as we discussed earlier, I have heard tell that sometimes swords that are forged in the fires of an ancient red dragon will be imbued with flame tongue. But I did some research and had some of the Cogwork archivists help me collect scrolls, and there was no record that forging any other kind of a weapon in the fires of an ancient red dragon would cause it to be a flame tongue weapon. For whatever reason, it seems to only work with swords. I believe it may have something to do with the surface area and the edges of the metal. The way that the fire is able to penetrate and infuse and become part of the entire sheet of metal that has been folded over time and time again to make the blade. It seems that other weapons, the mass of metal is just too great. And while a red dragon is perfectly capable of melting a maul that is forged in its flames, it will not imbue it with the properties of a flame tongue weapon. That seems to be something unique to Galazeth Prismari.
I see. Thank you very much. You have gone above and beyond what was required. And of course, as was the deal, you'll lean over and pick up a keg, just slam it on the table with a crack. Here we have some delicious dwarven ale from my good friend Tack. It might be the last I see of it for a while, so you better make sure that this goes to good use and you drink it with good company.
Well,
like the ones you're in.
Yes. I was about to say, we could tap that keg now, if you wish.
I think that's a splendid idea. It's your keg after all.
Shall we work on the? Shall we drink first, or shall we work on the unarmed combat practice first?
All right, you've already learned the first rule of Cred Raid's unarmed combat tutorial, but now I'm going to teach you the second. You can do both. You have two hands.
Okay.
So here, have this. Hand him a flask. And
okay.
I guess we'll walk off to a nice area and begin.
All right. So, yeah. So he goes off with you, and there's a combination of hearty dwarven ale drinking and some the dwarven equivalent of Greco-Roman wrestling that takes place.
Be still like the beer foam, my son.
And those two, the half orc and Crinraid, they wind up pinning each other. They wind up practicing throws and everything, and remarkably, neither one of them ever seems to spill a drop of their dwarven ale. Even though they have the mugs in their hands a lot of times while they are practicing their moves, they, no matter how much they get thrown around or something, they always manage to keep the mug upright and keep it from sloshing too badly for the ale to come out. And then there's always a lot of laughter, and then they take other drinks of the ale. And meanwhile, they go on for a while, and then everybody else leaves the kitchen area, and Mordenkainen tells the rest of you that in the morning, Big B will give you the debriefing on his travels. So, Crenraid, how long would you unarmed spar with this half orc?
If we're having a good laugh about it at the same time, it might even be a few hours, if not an hour.
Okay, all right. So yeah, that goes on, and for as long as the rest of you are sort of awake and around, you can hear them. But while they are carrying on with that, does anybody want to do anything else before they turn in for the evening?
Just ready to be surprised where we're going.
I know Belle will be looking at Tack and just, no, yes. Des. See, it's all three letters. I almost corrected myself, and I'm like, wait, what's the other one? She'll kind of like stare at Des, and she'll kind of look at him and stare. Would you protect my kids?
And Des kind of looks at her and goes, do you have children?
No.
Will you be having children soon?
No.
Then who are these kids?
Yes.
Well,
Speaking in code.
If you want to talk about code, speaking of that, I was reading through my stuff earlier. So, Mulek, I pull you aside and I start teaching the code that only you and me can read in writing.
Okay.
So that's a way that if we need to communicate besides magic, I can write you code that nobody else can decipher except you.
All right.
So I'll be teaching you that in our downtime.
Cool.
Meanwhile, Des is still trying to figure out Belle.
Well, but would you? Would you protect the children?
It would depend on the situation.
Belle will look at Des and try and claw him.
What?
Just playfully, but claw him.
He kind of looks down at where she's glomming to him and is like, do I taste good?
What's your AC, Des?
16.
Yeah, okay, so that misses.
She'll kind of try and swat, and she'll miss, and then she'll get right up in Dez's face, like nose to nose touching, and say, well, This party is my family. They're like my children. You can't just leave. And you're a child too.
Des kind of doesn't quite rear back a little bit, but he kind of looks at her like, "Yes, ma'am. Whatever you
Because this
say."
stranger came. I didn't know him, but he thought he was best friends with everyone. It kind of awkwarded me out. And she'll kind of sit down on his lap and then eventually just curl up in a ball and start eating and just completely ranting, saying, "You know what? It just wasn't fair. We all missed you. Everyone was in misery. We were all sad for a bit, but then we had to fight like 4 dragons. 4 dragons without you. You missed out on that giant story. I wrote a song about that, and you didn't even hear it yet. Fowler!" And she'll
have
scream.
To sing it. Meanwhile, Des is just sitting there, kind of like patting her back. "It's okay. I had to go home.
You should hear the song. But tomorrow, it's getting late. But we're your family. Just know that."
Okay. All right.
And she'll kind of like mumble it. She'll tuck her face into her arms and say, "You better protect the children, or else I'm coming for you." And that's a threat and a promise.
This is just continues to sit there and nod and pat her back. There.
She'll just stay curled up on his lap until she gets beckoned away. So, maybe for hours. You're stuck.
Des just sits there and smokes his pipe, patting the kitty on the back.
Have you went shopping yet? Do you need anything? We can go shopping together sometime.
Oh, yes, I'm sure that there will be something I need.
Only if you give me a hint of that good stuff, but we cannot tell Faliger. I accidentally snuck some in, and I was dancing with an owl, and I didn't eat him.
Meanwhile, Des is just like, nod and smile. Just nod and smile. Well, I'm glad you didn't eat the owl. That was very wise of you.
He was a really good dancer. He did flips with his like chunky little dwarf and like humanoid, and I think there was a half elf too. They asked me to join like the circus, but it's not a circus, but it is a circus. You know?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
maybe I can invite you there too. You can blow your rings.
Okay. That's what you want. We can do that.
Did you know anything about this place yet? 'Cause it's kind of strange. It has a place called a moo. A moo kind of reminded me of you. A moo. I was thinking that was your homeland.
No, unfortunately, it is not my homeland.
But it's called a moo. Moo.
And he's thinking to himself, God, what the hell has she been drinking?
She's just suffering from lack of catnip.
Catnip withdrawal.
Yep. It hits her the next day.
Okay. So
Anyway.
anybody else doing anything? All right. So the following morning, there is a nice breakfast, and then after the breakfast, there is a gathering, and all of the members of the Circle of Eight are there, along with all of you. So, they have some additional information that several of them have been researching over the last few days. And then, of course, Big B will give his presentation. So Liaman starts and talks about the domains of dread. Says that after Mordenkainen mentioned the domains of dread, and after Mulek mentioned the domains in relation to Piddlewick, his memory was jogged by something, and he asked the archivist to help him look up some information. And in an obscure tome that quotes a character that he calls Van Richten, who is known as a planar traveler that that specializes in knowledge about the domains of dread. Van Richten has reported that there seems to be some activity in at least one, if not more, of the domains of dread. And this activity would indicate that someone or something is constructing a trap of some kind within one of the domains of dread. And the nature of this trap leads Liaman to believe that it is a trap being set for a powerful celestial. And of course, the most powerful celestials known to the peoples of the planes of existence would be the gods themselves. And putting two and two together, there's, he kind of jumps to the conclusion that it could be that part of the part of whatever mechanism this soulmonger is connected to might be a trap for a deity on one of the domains of dread. So they have no idea how that trap works at this time. They're going to have to do more research to figure that out. But they are hoping that by destroying the soulmonger, it will, at least slow down, if not disrupt completely, whatever plans Acererak has been making for that, to trap a god in a domain of dread. And in the and Adaluk chimes in and adds his belief that the soulmonger below the city of Omu and the godling that is being fed by the soulmonger is indeed part of this trap, and he may be growing this Etropol, as the entity is called, as bait. So Adaluk theorizes that if Acererak is allowed to bring this Atropol to its maturity, that then he would move it to a domain of dread and have it be a lure for whatever deity he's trying to trap there. There also seems to be some disturbing evidence ranging from planes as diverse as the Shadowfell, the Feywild, the Underdark, and the distant world of Eberron that cults dedicated to Acererak as some sort of a power or a demigod have begun to appear. And this furthers the belief that because a Sararak is now starting to have people revere and worship him in different places, that he may be thinking that the time is finally ripe for him to try to supplant one of the existing gods of the pantheon. And then Bigby will begin by saying something that Mordenkainen had theorized when he talked to you before. His search has revealed strong circumstantial evidence that indeed a Sararak has created multiple phylacteries for himself and has spread those phylacteries across many planes of existence. He cannot explain how a Sararak might do that, but he did run down rumors of a story and determined that there is an inspiration for a Sararak doing this. There's an ancient story of the Wind Dukes of Akka and their battle against Miska the Wolf Spider, who was at the time Prince of Demons. It was this very conflict that gave rise to a legendary artifact that is known as the Rod of Seven Parts. And there are some writings ascribed to a Sararak that where a Sararak, while he was still immortal, wrote that he thought that the Rod of Seven Parts was something more than a weapon, but was also a key that would unlock some primeval secret of the universe or of the multiverse. So Bigby speculates that inspired by this, a Sararak may have created as many as 8 phylacteries for himself, 7 of which must be found and assembled to form a key, which using that key will unlock the location of the 8th and final phylactery. So it's the possibility is that if a Sararak is dealt with, then you'd have to go and find multiple phylacteries and destroy each of them, and then use the remnants of them to find the final one. And only when the final one is destroyed would a Sararak be completely annihilated. And they say they have a lot of leads, but nothing conclusive yet, and that research is going to keep them busy while while you guys are off in Chult dealing with a Sararak's tomb under Omu. And then Bigby says the best news that he has for you all is that he has confirmed that there is a way to cheat death one time in the exploration of Omu. And that is through the auspices of a coven of hags that call themselves the Night Spawn Coven. And the members of the Night Spawn Coven are Sweet Batty Nell Marble Switch, Mother Verna Cackle Stitchbones, and Granny Lynn Chic Pig Spitter.
What names?
Yeah, I mean they are hag names if I ever heard them. So Night Spawn, Coven, Hags. Okay. So those are their names. Um and what Bigby says is that these hags are able to offer a gift to the characters that will implant a second soul that will be taken away by the soulmonger instead of their own soul the first time they die. The Nightspawn Coven has existed for nearly 1,000 years, and stories about them have been told in realms as diverse as Greyhawk, Eberron, and Toro alike, with enough consistency to make their information reliable. Their gift always works. The first time someone dies after receiving the gift of a second soul from the Nightspawn Coven, they are immediately restored to life, but they feel very tired. And Bigby says uh, he does not know how the Nightspawn Coven provides this gift of a second soul, but he does know the price that all of their patrons must share. And that is that the Nightspawn Coven demands something from the recipient's body. And that can be a lock of hair, fingernail clippings, eyelashes, or some sort of other similar offering. Bigby says that most of what he knows is what he knew before his uh, scouting trip was from books. However, he found 3 people that have accepted the gifts of the Nightspawn Coven in the past. They all agreed that the Nightspawn Coven's extra soul gift never fails. Um, but he also says that every single one of them seem to unwittingly hide something of the cost. And even the magic that Bigby could use on these people to try to divulge um, what was done to them could not break through whatever the hags had done to them. So he thinks that that might be because of the influence of the night hag or the night spawn coven's uh, patron, which is rumored to be the archdevil Geryon, who is the deposed lord of Stygia, the fifth circle of hell. And Bigby assures the party. Go ahead. Okay. Bigby assures the party that none of the people he examined after making a deal with the Nightspawn Coven and surviving death show any residual fiendish influence from their experience, and none of them ever reported being bound to any kind of infernal contract by their deal with the Coven. So he also was able to find that the uh, that the Nightspawn Coven has taken up residence in Port Nyanzaru. And because of their proximity to Omu, uh, they will come to Omu for the next month at midnight every night until they find the uh, people that Bigby has sent. And they will know Bigby has sent them because of the gems that you will carry. And Bigby opens up his hand and he holds out 6 flawless sapphires. Each sapphire is about the size of a quail's egg. And he says if you carry these on your person when you get to Omu, you should stay in the building that has the circle of teleportation until you wake up in the morning and you find the gem is gone. Because when the gem is gone, that will mean that the Nightspawn Coven hags have visited you in the night and that you have received their gift, and the payment will be whatever they took from your person as well as that sapphire.
And you trust them, right? I mean, they're gonna. Do we know if they're making clones of us with our fingernail clippings or lock of hair?
And he says, honestly, I don't know. What I do know is that if you make a deal with the Nightspawn Coven, you will gain a second soul that will save your life one time if you should die while exploring the ruins of Omu or the tomb that Acererak has built. If you do not accept the gift, and if you die, then your soul will be consumed by the soulmonger, and you will not be able to be resurrected until and unless the rest of your friends can destroy the soulmonger, presuming that your soul has not been consumed by the Atropol in the meantime.
Mulek, that's just a risk I'm not willing to take.
Well, I just hope I don't come across a mini Mulek some point in my future. It sounds a little creepy, but you're the mastermind. I'll trust you.
I look at it as a get out of death free card for once in your mortal life. Come to think of it, if you don't die, and will they remove the soul from us after we get back?
Oh, well, I don't really have much room in here for company.
I mean, it's only in Omu, right? So it's not like this is a forever thing. But they're going to have our fingernails or hair or goodness. It just kind of creeps me out. But I'll trust you, Thaldor.
It's giving me the heebie-jeebies as well, I'm not going to lie.
I think we got to do what we got to do. I mean, I'm game. But like I said, think of it like just temporarily. If you don't die, you're immortal for a little bit.
Yeah, but these hags could have part of our bodies forever.
Then maybe when we come back and our deal is done, we take back the pieces that they took from us.
Yeah. I'm just going to have to live with it. I can't think about it anymore. We got to do it. Better safe than sorry.
Oh, I'll trust you guys on this, but if the other soul keeps talking a lot of whack, I might have to knock myself out a few times for some booze.
I think it'd be a dormant soul. I don't think we'll be able to hear it.
Oh, should I be sleeping?
Pretty much. Think of it like a bag of holding within your body type of way, I imagine.
Wait, I could store like axes and things in my own body. How do I do that?
No, Kren. No, it's a metaphor.
Yeah, I know what that word means, but for Belle, who doesn't, what does it mean?
Means a figure of speech. It means I'm just using it as a comparison.
Oh, of course, yeah. See, there you go, Belle.
It's like metaphor, comparison. A lot of syllables.
And Bigby.
What mean samesies and difference. Yeah, I know those.
Bigby will. Bigby will say, "Well, if I had to speculate, Garyon is an archdevil, right? And devils do their stock and trade in souls. And the lowest form of any kind of soul that devils would have ready access to would be creatures called lemurs. And lemurs are they are the souls of evil mortals who have died and gone to hell, and that is their first iteration. They are maggot-like creatures, about the size of a small dog, devoid of any arms or legs. They have slug-like bodies and vaguely humanoid faces that are constantly twisted in a torment of agony. And they are used by lesser devils as foot soldiers in the blood war that the devils have with the demons. And it is only if a lemur manages to distinguish itself and gain some sort of promotion that it ever is able to get out of that form and become a higher form of a devil. Um, devils have a rigid bureaucracy, and the only way that devils rise in the bureaucracy is with the is by the commission of their superiors. And the superior devils always like to lord their power over the lesser devils. So getting to be anything but a lemur takes an especial act of what the devils would consider heroic or valiant performance. So if I had to guess, you would probably be getting the souls of a damned. Each of you would get the souls of a damned person that maybe Garyon or one of his lieutenants is especially annoyed with, and would make it right around with you, with the price being that that soul might be utterly annihilated if you die and it gets consumed by the soulmonger.
I guess Mulek wouldn't know if we are potentially selling our own souls to gain this ability.
From what Bigby has been able to glean by talking with people who have accepted the gift of this coven of hags, they are not bound under any sort of infernal contracts.
Okay.
It seems that the coven has a patron, which is an archdevil. And this patron probably supplies these souls And what the patron gets out of this, who knows? The hags get what they get is they get a piece of your person. Like I said, hair, fingernails, bit of flesh, something like that. But what the actual devil gets, who knows? Might be just be that the devil gets to torment other damned souls, and that might be enough of a price of an amusement for an archdevil.
Devils like to trick people, but
Yeah, I know this firsthand. Remember my contract?
yeah.
So trust me, I know devils like to trick people, but what choice do we have? Us die and not be able to come back.
Oh, there's plenty of better things than having your soul controlled by another for eternity. I definitely do not want that to happen.
Oh, well, that's fair, but I don't think that this devil is going to control our souls. I think the devil looks at it as a win-win.
I mean, from what
for
you
him and a win for us.
From what you know of contracts, it seems like there's got to be a willing participant on both sides, right? I mean, if we
that
don't,
would be
if we don't sign anything, if we don't acknowledge that we are the full aspect of any type of contract, that we can't technically be tricked into a contract, right?
Well, technically, we've not signed anything, especially in blood. Yes, we're giving them some DNA, but that's for the ritual, from what I can put together in my head. So no, we're not held to anything legally or otherworldly bound. So really, this is a good scenario for us, because if we had to do this outside the means of what we're doing right now, then yeah, we would probably be in trouble, because we would be bound to some type of contract or infernal, some another. But right now, I think this is a win-win for everybody, and I think we should go with it. And hopefully, and I just wish that nothing happens to any of us, and we don't have to burn the extra soul. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But all in all, when it's all said and done, it's more about the greater good than just ourselves. Because be it, look at Des's village. People in Des's village are dying. Look at, Mordenkainen Center here, Bigsby and Tinsor Nautilus, they're dying. Slowly, but they are. But that makes me wonder about my uncle, because I know he was brought back, maybe. Maybe a Benedum was brought back. They could be dying as we speak. So is it really worth the risk? Yes. Is it scary? Well, hell yeah, it scares the hell out of me too. But sitting back and logically thinking about it, what other choice this venture do we have?
Well, I don't mind risking my life for another, but it's another to potentially sell my soul.
Well, you're not. Okay. You're not selling your soul. That part I can assure you on. You're not selling your soul. If anything, you're selling the damned soul into damnation, because if we die and that soul comes out of our, in air quotations, bag of holding inside our bodies, is the one that's being...
All right, stop talking. Right. I can't think about it anymore. Let's just do it. Let's just go.
Okay.
Okay. And so they will assure you that when you make a deal with the hag, it's called a hag bargain. And hags have limits on what they are allowed to make as a bargain with a mortal. And a hag coven that has as its patron an archdevil is very likely going to be an extremely lawful coven. And because, devils are sticklers for contracts. So you would not be making an infernal contract, but you would be probably making a bargain with the hags. And so he suggests, Bigby suggests that if you happen to wake up, or if somebody happens to be awake when the hags come in the night, that you could ask them what the terms of the bargain are. And uh, you might say to swear by the name of their patron Garyon, what the terms of the bargain would be. And if they are forced to swear on the name of their arch patron, that will probably mean that they are bound as tightly to that contract as you would be.
That's
Good
fair.
news. Good news. Milik, just to let you know also, nobody can surprise us anymore to see Theodore Pathy inside of his jargon. We can't be surprised anymore, buddy. So rest good knowing that if something were to come in the middle of the night, we'd know.
Sounds good.
Okay. So then I did get a wish list from Ken for Fowlisher. So I've got some items to price for him. Heather, if you think about anything that Des might want, pop it into the magic item price list. I'll try to keep an eye on that during the week and let you know what those items would be. And then does anybody else have anything else they want to buy for their characters? You guys stocked up on scrolls you need, potions you need, this, that, and the other?
I picked up those 3 things that I asked for pricing, so I paid for those.
Okay.
Other than that, I think I'm good.
Everything that was on my list, I paid for. I'm good.
Okay.
Same here.
I think I'm
Alright.
okay.
Okay. All right. Well, I know that Heather and Ken have early mornings, so they've had to drop off. All right. So what the Circle of 8 will do for you all is they will give you Mordenkainen will give you 2 scrolls of teleportation. And one of them is sealed with a blue wax seal, and the other one is sealed with a red wax seal. And he says, now, this scroll that has the blue wax seal, that is keyed to a circle of teleportation that is inscribed in Omu. So when you are ready to take yourselves from Strixhaven to Omu, use the scroll of teleportation with the blue seal. The scroll that has the red seal, that is keyed to the circle of teleportation that we used when you came here. So when you have finished in Omu and you are ready to return, read that scroll and it will bring you back here. You got that? Blue is Omu, red is Strixhaven.
Blue is Omu, red is Strixhaven. Blue is
Great.
Omu, red is Strixhaven. Blue is
I've,
Omu, red is
I've
Strixhaven.
got
Blue
it.
is Omu.
I've got it. Grenade, it's okay. I pat him on
He's
the back.
repeating it too much. Which one's the cow?
Moo.
I think green is Omu.
Oh, okay.
I look over at me like, blue is Omu.
Yeah,
Red
we
is
got it.
Strixhaven. I got it.
Blue.
I know you won't forget it.
Not unless I die.
Mm.
Yes. And then he says, well, we all wish you the best of luck. We have all of our confidence is placed in you. And I just want to remind you that literally the lives of at least Adeluk and Tensor and millions of other people are literally counting on you succeeding in this mission. So I know you can do it. I know it's going to be difficult. Be careful and make sure you use that 10-foot pole to check for traps and carry plenty of torches. Light the way. Use the oil when you have to burn your enemies. And all of that other stuff. So just remember what you learned in Adventuring 101 class. You'll be fine.
Did you guys attend Adventuring 101? I don't have a 10-foot pole.
didn't.
Professor, I don't have a
Wait.
10-foot pole.
Hey, I look over at Grenade. Grenade, I'm the 10-foot pole.
Oh, but
You're not 10 feet.
You're not 10 feet tall. Exactly, yeah.
You have a 10-foot pole? Wow.
Yeah. That was great.
And Mordenkainen just puts his head on his hand on his forehead, and he just shakes his head and he says, "These young adventurers, they don't teach them anything these days."
Mordenkainen, the 10-foot pole went out. My uncle told me about it. Man, they used to use that 100 years ago. I've learned so many secrets and traps that I don't need a 10-foot pole.
Sure you have. You say that now, but when you fall into a pit, you're going to wish you had a 10-foot pole. I guarantee it.
Okay, I'll pick one up on the way out and put it in our bag of holding. I look over at Mulek and wink.
All I know is you just got to be careful you don't go blind with those 10-foot poles.
You know it.
How would you go blind with a 10-foot pole?
Overwhelming.
Oh. Makes sense now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And so if you guys have no other business that you want to do this evening, I think we're pretty close to time. What I will do between now and then, or between now and next session, is I will post a link for the next campaign destination. And I will, once you tell me that your characters are all updated, I'll go ahead and export them from this campaign. And using the character vault, I will import them to the Tomb of Annihilation campaign. And then when we come back next time, we may do a little bit of exposition if there's anything that people want to do here. Otherwise, we will start in Omu. and we will begin
Nice.
the exploration of the city of Omu.
Quick question on the red wax seal.
Yes.
Would we know, or that the teleportation scroll? Would we know that the helmet teleportation that Falliger has that would still bring us back to Strixhaven as well, right?
Yeah. The helm of teleportation would bring you back to Strixhaven. Having the benefit is there's that very small chance of a mishap because Falliger hasn't been to that circle of teleportation many times. So he would have a small chance that there would be an error. If you have a scroll that is keyed to that, then that's basically like a teleport without error. Using
Okay.
that scroll, there is no chance that you would wind up somewhere else
All right, got it.
because it was inscribed by someone who
It was keyed directly to
Yeah.
that circle.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So, now that you mentioned that, as a party, you do have multiple ways of getting back here with that helm and everything.
Yeah,
But that,
it's always good to have options.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Anything else that you guys want to do this evening?
He looks good. He's ready. I mean, he's trying to keep the thoughts of these hags touching him. He's trying to just not think about it and just wants to get it over with.
I'm sure they'll be distracted by the 10-foot pole.
Yeah. Will that
As,
outdoor keep him occupied?
Well, the funny part about that is that dagger of warning will wake everyone up within 30 feet of me.
Is it all allies or is it just everyone?
Allies within 30 feet of me.
I'd like to imagine like a lizard just chilling on a branch, just suddenly immediately aware and awake that danger is present.
All right. Well, viewers, thank you guys for joining us this evening. Players, thank you so much for playing this evening. We have successfully navigated this portion of Strixhaven. Basically, this is until unless something better comes along, Strixhaven is probably going to become your home away from home for most of the balance of the campaign. A place now that you have allies that are part of the Circle of Eight that are doing research on your behalf and trying to put pieces of the puzzle together from their end. They will allow you to come back here. This will be a place that you can obviously sell loot, buy more materials, resupply, research things, and hopefully not every time you turn around have something trying to kill you. Unlike some of the other places that you're probably going. Unlike Omu, where almost certainly every time you turn around, something will be trying to kill you.
Giant chickens.
Giant chickens, yes. And other various and sorted sundry things. All right. Let me take a quick peek at the pinned note. Okay, so looks like we will have a game next Wednesday. I need to double check the U.S. Open Cup schedule Our team has advanced to the next round of U.S. Open Cup, and I believe the next match is a home match. But I want to say it's going to be on a Tuesday night, which is like a weird night for a soccer match here. And so I don't think it will interfere with any of the games. But I just need to verify what date that is and when that's coming up. But so I think we'll be back next Wednesday. This week, we will have the balance of the regular streams. I did a direct to YouTube Monster Monday on Monday because I was traveling back from Detroit that night. Then Saturday night, we will have our second edition Greyhawk game. Sunday afternoon, we will have our Walker of Waterdeep Planeswalking game. And then Friday, there should be a Lore Friday premiere. This one should be on Rockblight, which is an area of Blingdenstone from the Out of the Abyss campaign. And then next Monday, there will be another Monster Monday that will be a live stream. So that is the schedule here on this channel. Paul, do you have anything coming up between now and next Wednesday on any of the channels that you are on?
Nothing that doesn't have a conflict, so I'll just leave with a same time, same place next week. Come back here, watch this crazy mother trucker.
Okay, and Doorsphere, I know you had a chance to do some streaming this week. Anything else coming up?
Yes.
The next week.
Yes. I am off on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, so that's going to be primarily my biggest streaming days. But we're trying to get to 300 followers. Once we get to 300 followers, I'm giving away 2 game keys, random game keys that I have. And then if we can get to 20 subs for the month, I'll give away 3 game keys. So that is what's going on right now on the channel. We're trying to give away some stuff. Earlier today, I was playing Star Wars Empire War for May the 4th. So May the 4th be with you, everyone.
Woo!
And thank you.
Yes, and you can find Doors of Fear over at twitch.tv/Doors of Fear. That is his channel, variety streamer. And yes, I got completely through the day and it completely flipped my mind that today is May the 4th. So May the 4th be with you all. All right, everybody. Take care and have a wonderful evening. Viewers, thanks for hanging out. Players, thanks for playing. And good night, everybody.